Mike Familant, a 32-year-old EMT, firefighter and graphic designer, is a full-time Bigfoot researcher, producer, and lead investigator from Northwest New Jersey. He first got into Bigfooting in 2011 on an expedition in North Florida, where he and a friend experienced rocks being thrown at them while sitting around a campfire. Since then, he has made it his personal goal to find out exactly what is roaming the woods of America. In 2016, after becoming frustrated with the lack of true research expedition shows on TV, he created his own show called In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. The show is currently filming their 5th season. In 2018, Mike also created a docuseries called Squatchables, which was created for people who are just getting into Bigfooting, sort of a Bigfooting 101. With a passion for Bigfooting and a history in video editing, I decided to make a first real show about what expeditions are truly about. You'll see raw, uncut footage of what Bigfooting actually is. If there is one thing I hope people gain from this show, is for families and friends to get off the couch and outside into nature to explore what this amazing world has to offer, says Mike. All of Mike's episodes and more can be found on his YouTube channel, Sussex County Bigfoot. In the Shadow of Big Red Eye is also on Facebook, same name, and Instagram at Shadow of Red Eye. Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson presents guest host Mike Familant, Searching for Bigfoot, Part 2.
I agree, and because there's just too much out there. I mean, when I first saw that film in school of that cowboy on the back of that horse, and then he just walked out from the woods and didn't even break stride and just turned around and was like, okay. And then he would turn around again and go, I'm just checking you out, but you don't really bother me. I'm just going on about my day, and never, didn't go, oh my God, there's a person, because how would they know what people are? They just, but then saw them too. It's just like, just part of the crowd, I guess. I don't know. Keep on going. I got to go over here and catch a fish. What are you going to do? That type of thing. And when I saw that, I was like, my jaw was just like, can you roll that back? Can I see that again? There's no way, from what I saw, what I observed, this is not a man in a monkey suit. It's just not, and it can't be. I guess maybe there's a part of me that says I don't want it to be. I want this to be real. But then I think when I got older, I would just think to myself, if we see one, what are we going to do next? We're going to catch him. We're going to put him in a cage. What are we going to do with him next? And I don't, I want to be able to live my life freely as much as I can. I think he should be able to too. We got to figure out some type of way that we're not disturbing his life, his reality of what he's doing out there beyond. Because, there's so many things out there in this world, why are we still doing testing on monkeys, to make sure we can use a certain type of shampoo? I mean, come on. We've been through it enough. That's enough. Leave them alone. And I think it's the same thing with him. It's okay to try to understand them, but should we be caging him and putting him in a zoo or something like that? Absolutely not. He's been going for how long? I mean, do you believe that we as humans evolved from that, or do you believe he's just something else?
I think he's our missing tree, the Nisibin, which is an ancient human. We actually only have a little fragment of a pinky bone, but with that we can glean that is an ancient human just like us that lived alongside of modern day humans.
Right.
That happened to be 8 foot tall and by all means could have been covered in hair. So I think that it wouldn't be a stretch to say that they survived just like we did alongside of us, and still have survived to this day, kind of like we have. But like you said earlier,
what they are
is they're kind of the people that don't want to be found.
Right.
They're out there. They know what's up, and they don't want to be. They want nothing to do with us. I want nothing to do with us. I could imagine they don't want anything to do with us.
Yeah, kind of there with you. I like 6 cats and 2 people. That's about it. But because people, I talk to people every day, and I try to help them and try to help them further themselves in their lives and with what I do, talking to spirit and all that stuff. But they don't always listen. which is the problem.
Yeah.
And
I'm an EMT. I love to help people, but I hate people.
yeah, I
It's-
get it. Yeah, because you don't want to see somebody suffer, but beyond that, it's just it's just part of the job, right? Yeah. Well, maybe some of them. Yeah, I get that. But yeah, I kind of feel, I feel sorry for him that, I mean, like you said, he may have been standing right next to us in the evolving part, and me as a human back then would have said to him, since he's 8 feet tall, hey man, can you grab that piece of fruit out of there, out of that tree? But then we just eventually at some point separated and went our own way. And but we going our own way because we wanted to live our lives the way we wanted to do it. And I'm sure he does too. So where do we make the distinction or the separation of that,
What's really interesting and something you just said, like, grab me that apple from up there or whatever. Every Native American tribe in North America has this story about a Sasquatch type creature.
Yes,
right?
Big time with those people, big time.
And they lived right alongside of these creatures.
Right.
They had their area and they let Bigfoot have the woods type of thing.
Had respect for them.
Exactly. And that just plays right into what you said about how, this chronologically could make a lot of sense. And
right. Where do we now we have a distinction between us and them, but unfortunately we never, since that period of time when they were, it was just because the only real Americans here are American Indians, and they're just called Indians, so and they had to have spent way much more time with them because they just lived in the open range. They had to have seen something, and they profess that they have seen these things, and they lived around them all the time. They didn't have any problem with them. I wonder why the stories weren't enough, or the research of that wasn't enough, that we had to go at some point hey man, what was that? Let's go find out what it is. And I mean, that's good because we do, like I said, we do want to research what's here on Earth with us while we're living here. Hopefully, like with American Indians coexisting at the same time. But now it's just become, it's become such a big thing, but you had real experience with it. You were out in the woods, you went on one of these hunts, and then the next thing you know, you got rocks being thrown at you, and it's going, what the heck was that? It's got to perk your curiosity about it. It would have with me too. So, and that's why you now 12 years ahead, and now this is not just your business, but this is basically your life as well. And you do everything that you do is going to revolve around this, correct?
For the foreseeable future, absolutely.
Right. So, as you would say, as you said, well, if I find them and then I find out what was throwing the rocks, I might be content at that point. I don't think so, man.
I don't know.
I'm a spirit medium. I see spirit, whatever you want to call them, ghosts 24/7. It never goes away. And I'm always still interested because you might see, for me, when I'm in a dark room or even in a lit room, for me, it never stops. It never turns off. I see so many spirit in a day. It's more than any one of these TV shows ever sees in a fucking lifetime. And I see more. It's like being in a room with 1,000 people, except nobody leaves and more faces just keep coming in. But not people, just dogs, cats, horses, cows. I see everything. So, but I never do this. Well, I've seen 1,000 of them, whatever. Another one comes in, I'm like, oh my, what is that? That's not a person. I'm still intrigued by it.
Yeah.
I would hope that you've delved into it this far, that you're going to be intrigued by it forever.
I think you're right about that.
Because you got to know, and you're not gonna I mean, maybe you were able to hang out with Jimmy for 12 hours and figure him out, but I don't think you can hang out with him for 12 hours and just figure him out. I think there's more to it, and I'm that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because I know you're not just one of those people that's going to find it and go, you're going to be intrigued with it for a long time. And because you're doing that, you're putting the time, you're putting the effort, you're putting the research into it to find out what we are looking for, because people want answers. And you're the guy who's going out there who's trying to find the answers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Can't argue that.
That's what I think. I mean, that's why I say in the very beginning, I didn't want to call you a hunter, because I don't think that's what you're doing. I think you're invested in this in a big way.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
How many? So when you say you have a team or these groups, do you know of how many teams or groups or how is this a worldwide thing that we have people out there researching, and how many do you believe that are actually out there doing this like in the way that you do it?
Oh man, I couldn't even venture to guess about that. I know in New Jersey there's I think there's 2 other Bigfoot teams and maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 other people in the state that go Bigfooting, but that's just what I know.
Right.
Who knows what I don't know. You know?
And do you know these people? Have you met most of them personally? So,
oh yeah, they're all yeah. All of us are very good friends when it comes to especially people on the same page when it comes to philosophies and things like that. When you
right,
find
you're on the same page.
Yeah, when you find somebody that agrees with what you think about that, then you find yourself connecting with them, because it's not a lot of people you get to talk about Bigfoot with.
Right. Yeah. Well,
So.
but like with me being in the spirit medium stuff, I went out and it took me a while, but I went out and found my people.
Yeah, you network, absolutely.
Right. You network, absolutely. Because
Mm-hmm.
the one thing as you and I both know in both of our fields, what most people don't understand, they are afraid of.
Right. There you go.
They
True.
become scared of it, and they're not going to talk about it, or all they're going to do is just try to debunk it, and because they don't understand it.
Sure.
So is there a way that or you could tell my audience how to go out and find people if they are themselves one of these people?
Yeah. So a friend of mine, Glenn, he's on Facebook, and he has created these Facebook groups for each state. It's,
okay, cool.
Whatever state. So, for example, it'd be New Jersey Bigfoot researchers.
Okay.
And you could just go on and Google that, and every state has one. And then you could start networking through there. Now, I want to go and say to all of your listeners that I do not recommend meeting up with somebody that you've met on the internet. Do your process, because it's crazy. There's crazy people out there.
Hey, Mike.
And
that's how I met my wife.
Oh, well. Okay, so let me.
I'm absolutely telling the truth. I met her on a dating site, and we've been together for 8 years, and it's been great. But I understand where you're coming from. You got to do a background check.
You shouldn't meet somebody you met on the internet in the middle of the woods at night,
right,
looking for an 8-foot bipedal primate.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It should be some type of you get to know them online. Personally, and then you meet them. If you're going to meet them, and do it in a public place, as like you do when you go out on these expeditions, safety first.
Absolutely, and I will say I am totally on all the dating sites as well, so give you credit for that.
Yeah. Plenty of fish. Did it for 6 years. For the entire 6 years that I was on there, I met somewhere in the middle of between 300 and 450 women.
Wow.
In 6 years, yeah.
That's insane,
right?
That's a numbers game right there, my friend.
Yeah. I met, and like I said, that's why I said when you talk to somebody within 15 or 20 minutes, you can figure out if you're going to click with this person or they're crazy as fuck. and I met all the crazy bitches out there and dated all the crazy bitches out there. So, but and I don't deny it one bit. But eventually met my wife and went out on one date, and then on Valentine's Day 8 years ago, and we've been together ever since. So it works, but you got to kiss a lot of frogs, and you got to kiss a lot of crazy frogs at the same time. So, but you don't want to do that. Nobody wants to do that. Believe me, they don't want to do that. But yeah, in order to get yourself out there or to meet other people, you have to put yourself out there, and you have to be able to find these groups as well. So if you say your friend Glenn put these Facebook groups up, and then people. So what do you think they should put in the search bar when they're looking for something in this manner?
Just put Bigfoot in your state or Bigfoot in your county. A lot of these groups have, like I have my own Sussex County Bigfoot site.
Right.
And then, but I think a safe bet would be going on those sites and just putting up a little feeler and just say, hey, I'm brand new to this. Can anybody point me in the right direction?
Right.
And I moderate most of those groups anyway, so I can be sure that nobody's gonna, everybody's really cool over on those groups, and nobody's gonna,
nobody's Michael Myers or something like that.
Yeah, right. Well, I can't say that, but I will say that nobody's gonna, make fun of you when it comes to posting or
right.
whatever, because that's a lot of people are very. A lot of witnesses don't want to say anything because they think they're going to be ridiculed and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah, because nobody wants to be ridiculed with something like this. You want to be around people who are taking this serious.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think Facebook is literally the best way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, with Facebook, you do get a lot of people who just want to be fans of it, or who are just fanatics of it, and they just want to feel cool to hang out with this group.
Well, like I said before, the armchair squatchers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the armchair people. Yeah, that's for sure. But at least there's something out there, and like you said, you're moderating it. I don't know if I said that word right or wrong, but you're monitoring it to make sure that there's nobody really kind of gets the crazy ones don't get through the cracks.
Yeah, they don't get out of hand.
Right. Yeah, 'cause you can't let that get out of hand because of the fact you're going out on these expeditions, and safety is first. So you don't want somebody. I mean, people do have to learn, but they need to learn about it first before they just jump right into the woods and go, "What am I doing?"
Absolutely. In the group that I bring out, I trust every single one of those people with my life. And,
you have to.
And absolutely. So
in the dark woods, holy crap.
Absolutely. So I know, that I've got their back and they've got my back. It's like a family type of thing. And that's what you want to have when you look for these kind of people you're going out in the woods with.
Right.
You don't want to necessarily have 8 people that have never been in the woods before all go out looking for Bigfoot at the same time and don't know how to read a trail map.
Right, or they're tripping over everything. They don't bring the proper equipment with themselves. Yeah. They just bring themselves, and that's not good.
Right. So at the same time, while I say it's very be very cautious meeting with somebody, it is important to go out with somebody who knows what they're doing, and you get to know those people through, doing your background check, if you will.
Right. Right, because when they start coming around you, then that's another way that you can feel them out to see if this is something they truly want to do, or is this something they just think is cool on Facebook.
And they're doing the same to you, to that person.
Absolutely.
They're not going to waste their time on somebody who just wants to get their 15 minutes of fame. I had a guy who's been contacting me on and off for months, and he says he has this picture, but unfortunately, it's an open police investigation, so I'm not going to touch anything with that.
Right.
But he wants to be famous, so he's going and contacting everybody and their moms about this photo, which it's not even a good photo, but it could be like somebody's stalker. So going back to stalkers.
Right. Absolutely. You don't know what they're doing.
No, and it's like, this is an open police investigation. The police are investigating it. Like, I'm not going to touch this. Sorry.
No, you're not.
If somebody else wants to.
Yeah, police got to do their job. That's not your job. So yeah, and you don't want to get involved in that, because then you're going to become part of it, and then they're looking at you for something.
Yep. Nope. 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 Nope.
Yeah,
I've
no,
been subpoenaed from being an EMT before. I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Since you have experience being an EMT and a firefighter, you already know all that other side of it, as far as police go and all that stuff. So you know yourself what to get into or not get into.
Exactly. Yeah, and that just comes with time too. Unfortunately, with somebody new getting into it, but you'll be able to, like you said, you can weed people out pretty quick.
Now, do you? So when we were talking earlier about that one time when you saw the two of them standing next to each other, and you had your oh shit moment right there. Yeah, because I'm sure I'd be going around somewhere to the campfire and pulling my pants down and checking it. So you are sure, or pretty sure, like you said, with the ones with here's a group with black hair, and then there's another group here with red hair. So there are families out there. These are just not, I mean, there's no possible way it's just men, male Bigfoots out there. They are producing family and children as well. Have you ever heard of or seen or any type of information out there of smaller ones, baby ones, younger ones?
Yeah, down in the Pine Barrens, I was telling you about the footprints that we found and how they started out as little 6-inch ones. And
right,
if you think about a 6-inch Bigfoot, that's, I mean,
it's like a 4 or 5 foot kid.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no way that it was a person. And what's cool is you see them grow, but you're right. There is a family dynamic. There has to be males. There has to be females. There has to be a reproductive cycle and system, and that would obviously lead to having offspring. And when kids are small, so they have to. The same thing with Bigfoot. They would have to grow up through I think they grow up a lot faster.
Sure.
Than humans do, because I think they don't live as long, obviously.
Well, look at the food they're eating. It's not processed, it's not this freaking supermarket. It's fresh fish, man. I mean, what else can you have, that's better than that? Or fresh berries. They know what to eat out there. They know what their daily diet is.
Yeah. I think it's very similar to that of bears.
Right.
And it's an interesting fact because the bear population, if you look at a bear population map and put a Bigfoot sightings map over top of it, they're like the exact same. So that's kind of neat too. That's why I believe that Bigfoot eat very similar things to what bear eat.
Right. And they're, like I said, they're not out there stalking or trying to kill people or eat people. It's just if you come into their backyard, they're going to want to know why you're there. And if they don't want you there, they're going to do everything they can, like Spirit does, to get you out of that place.
Absolutely.
So
just like a human would do. Absolutely. Right. Spirit, human. They don't want you there.
You don't hear about these. You don't hear about like a Bigfoot killing someone, as opposed to you might hear that with a bear. So why do you think there's a difference there? That, like you said, they got to know that I'm not supposed to harm that or something.
Well, that, and I don't think there's a hell of a lot more bear than there are Bigfoot.
Sure.
So
I think though?
Yeah. I think there's probably about 2,000 Bigfoot in the United States.
They got to ramp up that having Bigfoot sex or something and have some more of them or something, because
that would be the with the sightings across the United States and with the numbers that you would need to have a reproduction or reproducing population, that would seem to be about the correct number.
Do you think they do that purposely, or they know to do that purposely so that there is enough food for that family to have and not overpopulate so they run out of food quicker?
No, I think that's more getting into scientific thinking. I don't think that they're capable of that comprehension level.
Right.
I think it's more so of just like their reproductive cycle, just like humans, where we can have children up until a certain amount of a certain age,
right,
similar to them, and their age range might be a lot smaller than our range is. So
right, and then hope
2 or 3.
hopefully they will have produced enough so that they have enough children who can also reproduce as well. So, and if like you're saying, if there's not large numbers of them, then they're not going to be reproducing as much as we would think they would be. Like,
and they got to be doing something.
Like rabbits, that's for sure.
Well, they got to be doing something, right? So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But they're not doing it so much where maybe they got 5 kids or 4 kids or something like that, and then they have to wait around to see if those 4 kids. I mean, I would hate to use that type of terminology in it, but it is some type of or some sort of inbreeding because they're not going outside, or we don't even know if they do go outside their family. Maybe the family knows another family that's in another part of the woods, and they.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some family
outings.
Yeah. No, because like I think when they get up to North Jersey, they have the option of going across the Delaware River into Pennsylvania, which I know has a thriving population of Bigfoot, or up into the Catskill Mountains, and which has another thriving population of Bigfoot. So they definitely have the potential to, meet up with different families and have that potential.
I would think they would at least know by now how to swim. At least, I mean, I saw a video like about a year ago, and there was a guy he was just taking a picture and a video, and then you see a Bigfoot going across the lake, and he's just walking across the lake. So they know which areas of the lake to go across, obviously, because they don't. Maybe they do know how to swim. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're just going in the area they feel safe.
Bears swim across the Delaware River all the time.
Right.
So there's no reason that a Bigfoot wouldn't be able to.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, especially like you said, when you get up to Upper Jersey, crossing that little part of the river, Delaware River, or whatever it is, over into Pennsylvania, it's not very wide. It's more like a stream or whatever. So they can cross over it all. But so it's just, you have to think about how they think, like you said, wherever the food is, that's where their territory is.
Where the food is and where they're going to be able to reproduce, I think.
Right.
Those are the two things that you need to survive.
Right. And I mean, I don't even know if, like we said, we don't know if they have hair on them. How thick is that hair? How do they survive the different seasons of the year? Are they finding some cave to be in, or are they just toughing it out under a tree? We don't know those types of things. And I think that's important information that would like to be known at that point too.
And unfortunately, I think that's something that it's just, we just don't know at this stage. No, nobody knows. No
one's had that really kind of close contact, I don't think, right? It's always from a distance.
There's been a lot of close contact sightings. Sure. Oh, absolutely.
And what is the reaction of the people when they have this type of this close encounter?
Most the overwhelming amount of people say that they're surprised that it was so human-like.
Right.
The face was human-like, and they do describe it as covered in hair, black or whatever color hair. Not so much on the face.
Right.
But there's also different descriptions of them too. Different, just like you and I look different. Bigfoot, I think, look different too. So there's different characteristics of them as well.
But I would have to think I'd like to think they don't discriminate against each other. They just know what each other is.
Yeah.
I wish we could do that. We could probably maybe that's why we're in such of a search for information, because we could probably learn a thing or two from them.
Take some notes from them. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are the champions of social distancing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leave no trace. Yeah. If you want to find somebody that does not litter, look at a Bigfoot.
Right. I mean, what is it? He's not opening any packages of candy bars, but I would love to see his face if he ate one. That would be awesome. Like a Milky Way or something. He'd be like,
yeah.
I mean, because they got to know. I mean, they see us out here. They look up in the air and they see that big giant silver bird in the sky flying around. So they know civilization's got to be out here at some point. I mean, they probably walked upon right next to a road and saw some cars go by or
Sure.
something, wondering what it is. But yet, the thing about it is, they're not seeking us out. It's us doing the
No.
opposite, you know?
Yeah, I think it's the opposite. They see us like that's what it's why it's very difficult as an investigator, because I think like whenever we get into an area, they know that we're there before we get out of the car.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
if they
Like deer, like bear, they know.
sure,
Not
sure.
dumb.
But and then the Bigfoot have two options. One, they could stick around and be like, hey, what are these guys doing? Or they
Right.
could take their family and say, oh, these people are in the woods. They're going to be here tonight. Let's get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here. Yeah,
And
that's
so,
what I tell. That's what I tell people about spirit. Some spirit want to be seen. Most of them don't. So
exactly.
and
Yeah.
so you're going to see the ones, but when you do see these things, when you do go out and into the woods and see these things, that's why it's probably so sporadic. That because you're looking for them, but they are out there observing you to see what's
Right.
because they don't want it to mess up what they do throughout their lives during that
Absolutely.
period, right?
It's an accident if you see a Bigfoot.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
yeah, because you just happen to be in the right place at the right time.
hmm
And so, how many of those happen to be in the right place at the right time experience have you had?
Zero. I've never seen one.
No, but you've seen it off in a distance.
I've the closest that I can say that I've been is probably 20 feet from one, but that was pitch black. Couldn't
That's
see
close
it.
enough, man.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was one of the
Yeah.
most horrifying nights that I've had.
Yeah, it's like the people who always talk about the scenario. I wouldn't want to meet up with him in a dark alley.
Yeah.
Well, you probably don't want to meet up with Bigfoot in a dark alley
No.
either, because he doesn't really know about you and you don't really know about him. And when you got two scared, kind of protective, scared individuals there, you don't know what's going to happen.
That's the truth. Yeah.
But it's caught your attention so much, you're still going out looking, aren't you?
It's the same thing with the rocks. You know, it scared the crap out of me when I was there at the time, but it feeds an addiction afterwards that comes back, and it's like, oh man, I just want to know what that was.
Yeah,
You know?
because as human beings, we're always searching for answers for everything. You know, whether it be God or UFOs or spirit or Bigfoot, they want answers to it, and they're going to keep on searching until they get them.
The truth. Yeah. Hey, but you can't prove that something doesn't exist.
I agree.
So
I agree. There's an analogy I use for people all the time about something that they can't see, but they base their lives on it all the time. I always tell them to take their two hands and put them together and cup them together. And then when they do that, I say, okay, I want you to point to me in the middle of your hands. Where do you see love? Or where do you see fear? Where do you see anger? And they look and they go, I don't see any of it. And I say, yeah, but you base all of your decisions throughout your life on things you can't even see, but you feel them and you know they're real. And then they go, oh yeah, I never thought about that. I go, yeah, so stop trying to disprove to me that I don't see spirit, because I see them every freaking night and I see faces all day long. So, and people need to stop going out there and saying, there's no such thing as a Bigfoot, or, you know, I always tell people that, you know, people, if you see me walking down the street and I'm all bent over or something like that, what's wrong with you? Oh, I'm in pain. You're probably just faking it, until they actually have the pain themselves. And then when they get the pain, they go, oh, he wasn't kidding. I understand it. And they have to experience things for themselves to understand it. And it's a good thing that you are out there, especially with your Squatchables, giving people, you know, the correct information so they can go out and experience it for themselves.
Well, and you know, it was, I don't want to have people spend X amount of money to learn how to do something that they want to do. Right. You know, and I wish I had that getting into it myself. So that's
Sure.
why the only reason why I created the series is just because I really wish that getting into Bigfooting, if someone gave me that DVD, I would have been a whole lot more comfortable.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You give them, hey, here's what's going on. Here's how you do it. It's going to cost a minimum X amount of dollars. Are you willing to put the time and the money into this to actually go out and do this? Or is this, like we said, is this just a hobby for you? At least you're putting the information out there for them to so they can make their own decision for themselves.
100%. And
And
that's
if you had that 12 years ago, do you think you would have done things differently?
I think eventually, well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
Did you dig your own hole, Mike?
I did.
Can't get out of it now?
Yeah, no, I think I'm
You don't wanna
glad that
get out of it.
everything that I'm glad everything worked out the way it did with me.
Right.
Because it really is a dream to be sitting here talking to you.
And doing this, doing something
this,
you enjoy.
Yeah.
And you get,
but-
like you said, you get to combine not only just doing the working part of it, but this is also a trip and an adventure to someplace you've never been to before.
Absolutely. It's not only an adventure to a place I've never been before. It's an adventure of life. It's a whole journey of this crazy ride that I'm on.
Yeah. Do you want to be that old guy who says I woulda, coulda, shoulda, or be that guy who said, man, I've been here and here and here. I experienced this here, and I got some crazy stories for that, and people are going to want to listen to it.
Yeah, that's my thing is I don't want to say like, man, I wish I saw that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You want to be a part of it.
Yeah. I want to see the Red River Gorge. You know, I want to see Mount Katahdin in Maine. You know, I want to see that kind of stuff. I don't want to say that. Oh, I wish I did. You know,
Right.
It's that kind of stuff that really keeps me going.
So is that something that you put on your profile on the dating sites? I mean, 'cause when you're out, I mean, you got to, like, I've been through it. You got to find somebody who is acceptant of you, and hopefully maybe wants to do that too, and or doesn't want to hold you back or stifle you from doing what you're doing now or want to do.
Yeah, well, basically what I never got into this on a podcast, but what I
Well,
in my
you're talking to me,
dating
Mike.
profile
Yeah.
is I'm looking for someone to share my experiences with because like and it's really the truth is I go to some of these most amazing, most beautiful places that in the world, and I don't have anybody to share them with, which kind of it sucks, you know.
It does suck, yeah.
That
Absolutely.
you know, I have the potential to share this with somebody, and I'm not.
They're not just regular life experiences. This is a whole different kind of experience that you have going on here. And sure, you want to be able to just to do it with somebody, not just to talk about it, but to also to rely on. And then you just get together because you have all this in common, and it's nice to be with someone who you have so much in common with. I know a girl who's on a podcast, 222 Paranormal. This girl named Jennifer, and she's always talking about trying to find somebody, just to have somebody who would like to go out and do the paranormal stuff with her. And then you get into a relationship as well. And she has a hard time of it. And I'll tell you what, she's freaking gorgeous. I mean, oh my God, she's beautiful. And she lives out in Ohio, and it's her and her brother who do this paranormal thing. And I was on their show, and it was really cool. But it's a shame that it's so hard to find somebody. Like I found my wife, and that was before I found out I was a medium. But then throughout that journey, we found out she was a very strong empath, and we mixed very well together. And I wouldn't have any other way. but I can't say the word lucky because there's no such thing as luck. Everything happens for a reason, but we wish those reasons would happen a little sooner than they do. That's the only issue about it. But yeah, just trying to find somebody else who is not just your life partner, but your partner in crime too. You can do this together with, because doing it by yourself all the time. I mean, I would still do this, but I would sure like to have somebody who goes along. Like when we go out and do readings for people, my wife takes care of all the business work. All I have to do is walk in, sit down in a chair, wait for people to come sit in front of me, and I do a reading for them. All the business, all the money, all that stuff, she takes care of it all. And at the end of the day, I stand up and go, how many people did we do? And she said, 21. And I go, really? Okay. And then, and that's it. But yeah, finding your, like the same thing with going out and finding your people who you can do this with. I mean, you stumbled upon Jimmy, and look how that turned out, and being able to find a whole group of people, like you said, you have a team of people that you trust with your life. You got to, because you're putting yourself in what could be life-threatening situations, not just with an encounter with this being, but you're out in the middle of the woods where it's dark. You don't know what's out there. If there's a wolf around or like you said, or a panther, you don't know what's out there. And,
or a person.
Right, it could be a person.
Mm-hmm. The three things that scare me in the woods are ticks, spiders, and snakes, in that order.
Ticks, yeah, I agree with that.
Followed closely by people.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of snakes either. No thanks, man. If I see a snake, he's a dead snake. So that's just the way that works. But
people are like, oh, you're not scared of bear, coyotes, or any of the bigger things. Like, no, because they're probably scared of us too. It's the things that you don't think about. Like I got a tick-borne illness after I was in Michigan, and let's just say a tick got attached to a very unfortunate location on my body, and I developed like a tick-borne something or another. I don't know if it was Lyme's or not, but I ended up having like 106-degree fever or something like that.
Wow.
But yeah, so ticks are no bueno for me.
Yeah, these smaller things that you can't see, especially in the dark woods or even in lit woods, you can't see a snake hiding under a log, and then you just happen to kick over that log, and the snake gets mad and bites your ass. I mean,
yeah, I'm not necessarily petrified of snakes. I just think they're creepy and I don't like them.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. They look kind of scary. But yeah, you going out in these expeditions you do. I mean, you went to this expedition, this last one by yourself. Boy, it would have been cool to have somebody along with you that could enjoy it with you too.
I always say, and again in my dating profile, I'm always looking for like my shotgun rider.
Right.
Absolutely. And I end up getting lost a lot too. So someone to look at the map and
yeah, I'm not good with maps either.
Be helpful.
my wife's got a Google map everything, and I just say, where do I go, left or right? Yeah. And because I'm real good at getting lost.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, to have somebody else to do it with you, absolutely. But at least what I'm a little envious of, I wish I could go out and do what you do. I can't. I physically can't because I'm diabetic. I have all kinds of issues going on. I'm missing a big toe, so I have horrible balance. So I just know that would be bad for me to do. But at least you're getting out there and doing it, and not just doing it just to do it. You're getting out there and trying to find out real information of what's going on here, because we all know there's something happening. There's something going on here, but we don't have a way of getting answers until I researched you on YouTube and started watching your videos and going, this guy's for real. So and that's a good thing, because man, I don't want ghost hunters and those guys. They just need to quit, man. So and they're just how many times can you walk around a corner and go and be scared by a ghost? How many seasons do you have to do that? You don't.
Apparently, they could do it for a while.
Yeah, they could do it for a while because they're getting a shitload of money from commercials. That's why.
Yeah.
But if you don't think there's spirit out there, then you're hiding under a rock. Just saying, same thing with Bigfoot. If you don't think there's Bigfoot out there, man, you're hiding under a rock. You need to come out from under that rock. They need to come and find you. They need to come and find you on Facebook. They need to come and find you on YouTube. We're going to put all that information in at the end of the video so people can, so they know where to look for you and where they can find, how to find these, like you said, your friend Glenn put up groups on Facebook, how to find the information. So if they want to get out there and do this, they should get out there with all the know-how and all the knowledge they can get and not go into this thing blindly. And
don't go into the woods without knowing anything. That's
right. And you with your videos, you know, with your Squatchables, they could all they have to do is purchase the DVD and learn everything they can possibly learn by sitting by their computer or their TV. And at that point, if they feel they want to do something more with it, they can reach out to you on Facebook, correct?
Absolutely, 100%.
And then they can go out and hopefully meet up with you, or maybe start their own group or get into another group, which would probably be the best idea. And then lead by example. I've had a great time talking to you on the show. I'm glad I got to talk to somebody who is not fake.
Oh, well, I really appreciate that, and I appreciate the time, and I appreciate your listeners for having me on the show. It's been great. The time has just flown by.
How long's it been?
It's 8:44, so
hey, Mike.
Hour 45.
Sorry
minutes.
about that.
No, hey, this is great. I could talk about Bigfoot apparently for a long time. So.
Yep. So I do the same thing with people when they ask me about spiritual questions. I could sit there and talk forever and ever and ever because there's so much information out there, especially like with Bigfoot, that people just don't know. They don't have the truth. All we have is the pretend TV shows out there who say, I love it when they do this. They go, oh, and at the end of the show, we have some exciting news we're going to reveal to you. And then when they reveal it to you, it's something you knew already from 20 years ago. And you go, but they reel them in and they keep having them come back and watch
my favorite is when they play music over audio evidence.
That's great, because Bigfoot needs a theme song, right?
Yeah. Oh, listen to this, and then there's music in the background. It's like, wait a second.
What is that? What is that supposed to mean? Why would they do that? You know? Why would they cover up something you're trying to listen to on TV that you don't have real good hearing for anyway? I don't get that.
Anybody that watches my show In the Shadow of Bigger Eye does not need to worry about that, because what's cool about that show is I produce and I edit everything myself.
Yeah, because I read that about you. You do all your own editing. You do everything.
I'm a one-man show, pretty much.
Yeah. You got a lot of hats.
I do. It's like a lot of full-time jobs, but you know what? I love it, and I don't think I would want to have it any other way, to be honest.
You got to go out there and, by one incident, create your own dream job.
You're right. Absolutely. And I didn't even know it was going to, I hated this stuff. Again, when I was growing up, I was like, you asked me 15 years ago, before I got into all this, that I'd be outside looking for Bigfoot in the woods. I'd tell you got to go to an insane hospital. Because
what are you smoking, buddy? Yeah, because I wouldn't be doing that. But here you are 12 years later, and you're still doing it. You still have a love for it. You still have a passion for it. And it still perks up your ears every time you go on your computer and you hear a sound. You're like, oh shit. And
you know, we're going strong too. We're just started. We're filming season 6 already.
That's awesome, right?
We have no intention of slowing down. We got so many booking or speaking presentations coming up. This year's already turning out to be absolutely wild.
So you go out in front of audiences and speak about this.
Oh yeah. I go all over the country and speak. We're going.
Oh my gosh.
Booked one in Pennsylvania. We got one coming up in Tennessee. So we go all over. Absolutely.
Do you take airplane rides, or do you get on a train?
I use my vehicle. It's actually.
Oh, you travel? You drive all the way across?
Yeah, and then we'll go Bigfooting on the way.
I just did a trip. We moved here to Arizona from Delaware. It was 2,400 miles.
Oof.
And as you know, because we talked before, I ended up getting the flu from it. Lost 27 pounds in like 2 weeks, which is I don't suggest that as a diet plan or Jenny Craig, yeah, whatever, lady. But because I came from an elevation that I lived in New Jersey. I mean, you live there.
Yeah.
It's zero out here, right. 4,500 feet, and I'm having a hard time breathing. So, but I'm getting used to it. But yeah, it made me sick. But I couldn't imagine just getting in the car and going, oh, I got to speak in Washington. Okay, let's gas up the car and go. That's crazy. I mean, holy mackerel. I mean, you must be busy all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't slow down. And thankfully, most of them, I can't say that I've driven out to Washington, but most of them are local-ish. And that gives me the opportunity to go Bigfooting wherever and go out and see those sites where I've never been, and
maybe try the local cuisine or something like that.
You see, and that's with my show. Every place we film at, we try to go to these smaller towns, and we try to go to these local businesses and stop in and eat at these restaurants that are in town and stuff. And that way, from people that watch the show, that brings in, if somebody goes to that location and brings in revenue to that business or that town, then beautiful. It's a win-win for everybody.
So since you're from Jersey, do you eat Scrapple?
No, I don't.
Oh man, you can't get Scrapple out here in Arizona. So since we couldn't get it out here, we bought a cooler and brought like 28 bricks of these 3-pound bricks of Scrapple.
Nice.
Yeah, so I can have it once a year, so I can thaw it out and mold it into like a turkey and call it a skirky or something like that.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, man, because there is no Scrapple out here whatsoever, and I love Scrapple. But all right, man, it's been good talking to you. I'm glad I was able to have you on my show. I think you are an awesome guest. I'm like I said, I only bring people on my show who tell the truth, and I absolutely know you're telling the truth. And I hope that you are able to spread that truth as much as you can throughout this fine career of yours of doing this. And I hope you are able to share with enough people that maybe they'll get interested in it too. Not just the Bigfoot part of it, but like you said, getting out into the wilderness and seeing what a beautiful place we have here. And hopefully that'll change the minds of others to maybe next time they have a piece of trash in their hand, maybe they'll just put it in their pocket and wait till they get to a trash can instead,
Absolutely. That's we can only hope so, right?
Yeah, we can only hope. That's all the best we can do. But with that hope, at least you're out there putting this inspiration out there for others to see, so that they will hopefully pick up on it as well. It'll resonate with a few people, but
and you know what? What I tell people too is, even if Bigfoot isn't real, and doesn't turn out to be anything, then guess what? I'm having a hell of a time looking for him.
Right.
And that's
sustaining you, right?
It's the ride. It's the ride that is the journey, and that's I'm just blessed that I'm able to do it.
Right, because I ride motorcycles all the time, and it's not the destination; it's the journey.
100%.
100%. Is there anything that you would like to leave my audience with right now that you would think is a good message for them? Sure.
One of my favorite quotes is about your beliefs about Bigfoot is the world. If you believe that Bigfoot, the world is a much better place if you believe that Bigfoot exists. No, hold on, I messed that up. Do you edit this? Hold on.
Yeah, I'm not going to edit this part, so you better get it right.
Oh, okay. All right.
My wife will edit it.
I forget how it goes now. The world. No, I don't have anything else to leave you guests.
That's even better. Yeah. Hey, Daniel, screw your guests. That's what I say. Yeah. No, screw those people up there. No, I think you put enough information out there for people to take some interest in this themselves, and hopefully they will. Hopefully it'll resonate with them, and then they'll get up off their lazy butts and go out and try to do this themselves.
Well, let's hope that at least one of your listeners will get off the couch and out in the nature. If that's the case, if one person does that, then guess what? My whole show's worth it.
That's right. Then you set out to do what you set out to do.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, I appreciate you being on here. And I want to tell everybody, thanks for stopping out to watch the show of Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, me, your host, and we will see you soon. And as I always tell everybody out there, be good and don't do any stupid shit. And have a great day.
All of Mike's episodes and more can be found on his YouTube channel, Sussex County Bigfoot. In the Shadow of Big Red Eye is also on Facebook, same name, and Instagram at Shadow of Red Eye. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next time on Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson.